Hey everyone, let's talk about George Berkeley, an Irish philosopher who lived a long time ago, from 1685 to 1753. Berkeley was a big thinker and he's famous for his idealist philosophy. Now, idealist doesn't mean he was a dreamer, it means he believed that reality, everything around us, is basically made of minds and ideas. He thought everything that exists is either a mind itself like ours, or it depends on a mind to exist. This was a pretty radical idea back then. Most people believed in materialism, which says that only physical stuff like matter is real and our minds are just a product of our brains. Berkeley thought that was silly. He said, look, the only thing we can really be sure of is our own minds. He's super famous for his saying, to be is to be perceived. Basically, he thought things only exist when a mind is aware of them. Sounds weird, right? We'll talk more about it. Berkeley was also a very religious Christian, and his belief in God was a big part of his philosophy. He believed God is like the ultimate perceiver, always aware of everything, which is what makes the world steady and lasting. Even today, Berkeley's ideas are still important because they give us a different way to think about what's real, what consciousness is, and how we as observers fit into it all. So Berkeley wasn't a fan of abstract ideas. He thought they were impossible. He believed all our ideas come from our senses, what we see, smell, taste, touch, and hear. These experiences give us specific ideas, like you can have an idea of a specific apple, its color, smell, taste. But Berkeley said, you can't have an abstract idea of appleness itself. Why? Because there's no such thing as appleness floating around in the real world. There are only real, specific apples. He thought these abstract ideas just confuse us and make us believe in things that aren't real. For example, the abstract idea of matter makes us think there's something more to the world than what we can actually experience. Berkeley said, stick to the specific ideas from your senses. Those are clear, and they're the basis of everything we know. Okay, let's get back to Berkeley's famous line, to be is to be perceived. In Latin, it's esse est percipi. This sums up his whole idea that things only exist when a mind is aware of them. Now, this doesn't mean things disappear when we close our eyes. Berkeley believed in a universal mind God. God is always perceiving everything, which is what keeps the world going. Without God's perception, poof, no world. Berkeley used this idea to argue against the existence of matter. He said we have no proof that matter exists on its own, outside of our perceptions. We only experience our own sensations. So he thought it made more sense to say matter doesn't exist, and all that exists are minds and their ideas. God is a really important part of Berkeley's philosophy. God is the ultimate perceiver, always aware of everything in the universe. This is what makes the world stable and keeps it going. If God stopped perceiving, the world would vanish. Berkeley thought God's existence is obvious when you look around. The order and beauty of nature, he said, are proof of a divine creator. He even thought our own minds are proof of God. Our ability to think and reason, he said, is a gift from God. Berkeley's ideas were kind of a reaction to the growing popularity of science back then. Scientists were starting to explain everything in terms of physical stuff, and Berkeley was worried this would lead people away from religion and morality. He thought his philosophy could bring science and religion together.